Okay, so since we met last, or since I was here in the forum type setting last, we did have a committee meeting the week after, and we've also had a few members meet with Weston and Sampson, who is the architect engineering firm that is doing the feasibility for us. They were a bit scary up front, I'm not gonna lie. But what our meeting was with them last week, just so you know, it was not to set architectural drawings, it was really to confirm spatial needs. Because we gave them a list of what the needs were, and they've sort of plugged it in, and I'm happy to pass this around if you folks want to look at it. Nothing is final here, and these are just renditions of offices separately. I'm happy to share that kind of stuff with everybody. So we went through what would be the town hall and what would be the police station. And really kind of went through square footage requirements, not so much like how many windows and all that stuff, but really can what our needs are fit in the proposed size of the building that Kip is proposing that would be sufficient. The overall square footage of this building currently between upstairs and downstairs is about 10,000 square feet. By putting all of this together with all of the magic that they do at the engineering place, the estimate is that the increase with the building size will bring us to 21,000 square feet, which is a pretty good number. It's a great number. It allows for not only accommodating short givings now in what we have for office space, but accommodating future growth. Okay, to give you somewhat, so we started talking about price, and like I said, he scared us a little bit at first because he gave us worst case scenario, which is almost $800 a square foot, which if you do the math is a $16 million building, which I like. So, but I actually did some legwork since then and have found the average in this particular area to be much, much lower, specifically in New Hampshire. To give you a better figure, in last year's dollars, because they completed the building last year, they did a public safety building for the town of Northampton, 25,000 square feet, so about 4,000 more square feet than our proposal, and they did it for 8.9. And that was all in, everything. I just talked to a builder who will put in a bid at some point. He actually built the fire station in Kingston, the Kingston Library. He built the church in Kingston. He's done some Chipotle's around. So he's a builder. He's been around a long time, 30 years in business. And he said he's right around 250 or 300 a square foot. So it's a significant difference from when I heard in that initial meeting with Weston and Sampson. So I'm not as concerned as I was before, which is kind of nice. The way we left that meeting is we gave them some space. And what agreed upon is either by the end of this week or next, we should start to be able to at least put together rendition drawings, which everybody wants to see that. Typically you promote that, you put it on an easel at a popular business like Lindy's. You put one in the town hall entrance here, things like that, so people can grasp the concept a little bit better. We had a concept drawing for the original one that was done by Norwich University. But I'd like to be able to put something on an easel for people to have some sort of tangible, something to think about, rather than just a rendition that we pulled off the internet. So that's the update on where we're at. We haven't had any significant changes since the last forum. Our next job is to get the rendition drawings, and then we're going to start actually getting prices based on the square footage needs. We'll start laying out the building a little bit more specifically with how these offices will interact with each other. Who will be on the second floor? Where will the meeting room be? How many will the meeting room hold? Things like that. So we've done the really preliminary things and sort of intermediate preliminary, but we got some more things to do before we can start getting final prices. But it's moving quickly now. They've gotten a second batch of information they need from us, so that's very good. Anybody have any questions?
Still, the thought is to
I think so, because we actually, you know, I kind of went through this building a little bit and in terms of mitigation, and we would have to mitigate it somehow to even sell it, right? I think we would. You know, we're doing another mold test right now, because last year when I think we did it last year, we got some dormant mold readings, but, we wanted to do another check this year. So some mitigation would have to be done to this building no matter what happens. But I think to mitigate it for our uses as a town would be too extensive. You know, in the words of one builder, I'd just knock it down and start over if I was gonna do it there. It's really, there's been too many things that are compromised in this building that just wouldn't attach well. Well, not really, because we would have the same needs. We just couldn't put a big building on this location. Because again, we're surrounded by water on three sides. And you really don't want to extend further that way. So you're kind of stuck. Plus, you have a water table down below and more runoff up top. So it's just it's a nightmare. It was built the way it had to be built back when it was done, obviously, with what they had. But yeah, it'd be a lot of work for it to be useful for our needs. But yeah, try to offset some of the costs. It would be able to be a shelter in place type atmosphere, because there'll be full showers. There will be heat, hot water, and an elevator. So it could be used as a shelter. You know, most towns have at best a warming station because there's no overnight accommodations, because you need those types of things for overnight accommodations. But we would actually be able to do that. And I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe we're able to get more federal funds for emergency services when you're able to provide those overnight accommodations. Right. Yep. Nice. Oh, nice. Oh. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I did something similar in Wakefield when we finished the upstairs of a building they built 20 years ago, and I made one room. I think it was 10 by 12, and I just made it emergency operations center. We put computer lines in there. We did everything. And then we literally just took the square footage of that and divided it by the square footage of the whole project. And I think it ended up being 5% of the whole project. Well, our bill on the whole project was $400,000. So 5% of that is what we got back, just for having a room, much less other things. Yep, I would be more inclined to think we would get them for equipment that would service the building, like an emergency generator. We would get, you know, again, I think the emergency management room that I want to have in this area would be significantly bigger than 10 by 12, so we would get a much larger contribution back for that. Because essentially I want that to be downstairs, be part of our training room for the police, but be able to be converted immediately to an emergency ops center. So it would be fairly large. But as far as other federal funding out there, I don't know of any off the top of my head. But I think once we even get to the point of pricing and things like that is when I would start looking more towards the grant process. Because a lot of these you get grants in the planning stages, and you can get some afterwards. Well, that was informative.
For which building? We haven't done a warrant article for the new police station. This is all
This
brand
is the only one
new.
we've done, yeah.
We've had warrant articles for capital reserve funds to establish them and to contribute towards them, but that is all.
Yeah, so this would be all one bond. Well, from about, I don't know, I mean, the ones that have voiced their concerns, they're about 20 or 30, but we always have about that same amount that, sometimes are participative in the town process. Some a little more aggressively than others, and that's fine, that's their right to do so. I think one of the bigger challenges will obviously in the economy the way it is to be able to keep the cost down. But the problem that I face is I'm not putting forward any needs that I don't need. So what I put forward is not we'll see if they cut that later. It's really not a project like that. What's going into this is what's necessary. With a whole plan in place. For me to be able to say that there's a need for growth, and you're gonna need it, I actually mean that. You might not be able to realize it in the next 10 years, but you'll realize it when you need the growth, right? Wakefield planned that building perfectly. They built the Taj Mahal 20 years ago and didn't finish the upstairs. Now, they said they were gonna finish it within 3 years. Well, it took them 20 to finish it, but the building has still not outgrown their needs. It'll be good for another 20 years. That's the type of building that I wanna build. That's a necessity rather than a building full of wants. Well, folks, I appreciate you coming. It made my night a lot easier, but thank you. That is.